Hello there and welcome to the review and demo of the new Tarte Maneater palette. I was not planning to film this video quite this early, but after receiving it in the mail and actually seeing it in person, and then receiving several requests today from you all asking me to review it, what my thoughts are, I thought I better jump on this and get this review up. So I'm going to be getting into the nitty-gritty. We're going to talk about the packaging, the pricing, all of that. I'll show you swatches, and then you will see my first application with this palette so you can see how these shadows perform, and then I'll finish up this video with my final thoughts. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. So online, when I first saw this palette was going to be released, all I saw were pictures of kind of like the inside of the palette. When I pulled the palette out of the box yesterday though, I was not prepared for how beautiful and just amazing and different this palette is. It has this raised leopard print, so it's a mixture of matte and then you have this sheen. I like that because you're not getting a lot of fingerprints here. On the back, you're gonna have lots of fingerprints. There's gold there, but this is a nice hard plastic packaging. It's flat on the top, but then the edges kind of flatten down. I love it. It's super slim, but it does have a good weight to it. It feels like super high quality on the inside. You have a ginormous mirror, a really good mirror. This lid will stay up on your desk, which makes it easier to apply. And then inside we have 24 eyeshadows. There are 11 mattes, 9 shimmers, and then 4 shadows that they're calling are shine shadows. I was like, which ones are the shine? So at first I was thinking, well, maybe they're the ones that don't have this leopard print embossing on them, which by the way, I think is super cool. So the 4 shadows that I felt like were more of a shine and not as much glitter in them were this green one, this one, the one next to it, and then this one. So these all have kind of a good shine and sheen, but they're not like glittery. You'll be able to tell the difference when you feel them, but these shadows, oh my goodness, as I put up the swatches, you are going to just see you do not have to dig your finger in these shadows to get the pigment. As far as the mattes go, they are all also very pigmented except for that yellow one. That was the only one that I actually had to build up a little bit. That's the shade called Desire, but yellow eyeshadows are apparently very difficult to formulate. So once I built it up, I felt like I was able to get good payoff. And in a moment, you're going to see how all of these shadows perform on the eyes. Now, as far as the color story in here, Tarte gets a lot of flack for putting out boring neutral palettes, and I don't think you can say that about this palette at all. Yes, there are some really good essential colors in here. You've got a really good deep matte black, matte brown, and then you have lots of nice, great different options for crease colors. They're all matte. And then we've got those few pops of color. We've got these bright yellows, which I think are going to be fun. And this one, which actually even ends up being a little more on the orangey yellow side. We've got this beautiful green. I already showed you that one, but it's gorgeous. I used it on my lower lash line today. And then we've got some purples, and I just feel like this is a very versatile palette and going to be one that I reach for often through the fall and winter. Now, the only shade that I feel like Tarte is missing in this palette that I personally would have loved to see in exchange for one of these more yellowy golds is kind of more of a shimmery champagne slash almost white shade. And this is an example of it. This is the Tarte BU Naturally palette, but this shade right here, I love this kind of a shade for the inner corner, but I also love a shade like this to just slightly lighten any other shimmer shades that are in the palette. So I feel like that kind of a shade can be a really good mixer shade. So the only shade that I feel like had a little different texture among the metallic shades is this one right here, and it's called On the Prowl, and it still is pigmented. It has nice shine, but you can just feel the texture of it is a little lighter weight than the rest of the shimmery shades in here. As far as the formulation of the rest of the shimmer shades, they are that slightly thicker, denser texture, but I feel like that is what helps these perform so well, and they stay put when you're applying them on your eyes, and that glitter is not flying everywhere. Now the price on this palette is $52. Now I know on the one hand, I have to stop myself and go, wow, eyeshadow palettes are now over $50. But just to give you a comparison of another recent release, the Too Faced Better Than Chocolate palette, this only has 18 shadows, has less grams, and that is $54. So this is a couple of dollars cheaper. You're getting 24 shadows and you're also getting 24 grams of product. So a really good value overall for your money. I was just also thinking as I was using this of another very popular palette, the Patrick Ta palette that I actually ended up returning. That palette is, I believe, $65 or $68. And you don't get nearly as many color options, and I don't feel at all like those shadows perform nearly like these do in this palette. So with all of that being said, now let's go ahead and jump into the application of this eye look, and you're going to get to see for yourself how these shadows perform and blend on the eyes. I've already started off with the Smashbox 24-hour eyeshadow primer, and now we're going to go into the palette. And a lot of you wonder how I figure out what colors to go together, what to apply. Well, I always start off at the brow bone and then go from there. So I'm going to start off, I believe this is going to be bright enough, but if not, I'll add a little bit of this. So we're going to start off with Charming, and I'm using the Sigma E50 for that. And that's about kind of my current tone of my skin. I'm going to add just a touch of Playful right under, oh yeah, right under the arch of the brow. Oh, that's nice. Okay, combination of those two went on very well. These are kicking up a little bit of powder as I put my brush into them, but that's okay. Next, we'll work a few neutrals through the crease. So I'm going to start off with this one. Let's just see how much color we can get from this. This is called Enamored, and I'm going to use the Morphe M504, and this is a pretty light shade. So this will be great if you have fairer skin. This will show up well. If you have deeper skin, this could be a brow bone highlight shade for you. Let's step it up and let's go into a little bit of this shade right here, which is called Passion. And I'm going to tap off my brush now that I know there is a little bit of powder kick up. Oh, that's going on nicely. Okay, so the two of those combined make a really nice warm crease color there. All right, I've been sitting here for a minute just staring and swatching and trying to figure out what direction we're gonna go. All right, I'm gonna go in with one of these amazing metallic shimmers. Let's just see how these apply. So this one is Feline Myself. I don't know about some of these names, but okay. This has some peachy pink hues in it with gold sparkle. Oh my goodness. Look how pretty that is. Okay, I'm just going to, and I'm really not digging my finger in the shadows. I'm just kind of pressing and kind of tapping as I take the shadow off the palette. Sometimes if a shadow is not real pigmented, you know, you really have to dig your finger in, like with the Too Faced palette I recently reviewed, but this one is definitely not that way. And oh my goodness, that color is beautiful. Okay, if you can see that beautiful color, this is truly a unique color in my collection. I don't think I have anything quite like this. And I'm looking up closely, and you know, where I touched my skin here with my eye closed, I have a little bit of transfer, but I don't have any so far glitter fallout. So that is a really good sign. All right. Towards the inner corner, I'm going to add a little bit of this shade right here, which is Wild at Heart. This has a little bit of gold in it. So I'm just going to add a touch of that in the inner corner. Wow, that's a lot of gold. Okay. And then over that, I'm going to add a little bit of this shade on the Prowl just to cool it off a little bit. And then I'm gonna just go back to that lid shade, just kind of blend that inner part together. I think I have another idea for what I'm gonna do on the inner corner, but for now, let's now go to the outer corner and I'm just gonna see how some of these darker mattes translate. So I'm gonna start off with a little bit of the dark brown, and this is Alluring. I'm gonna use a MAC. This is a 239S brush, and just going to pack this on. Okay, really had no issues getting that pigment there. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in with the BK Beauty 204 brush and a little bit of this black shade here. And let's just add a tiny touch of this right at the lash line. And then I will just smoke this out a little bit as I go up towards the brow. I just want that little added lift here in the outer corner. Very nice, and I don't see any black shadow fallout, so that's really good. And then to just blend those outer corner colors together, I'm going to take a clean Morphe M439. Just start off with this, soften the top edge of that. And now I'll go back in with a little bit of the dark brown and this kind of more caramely shade called Passion that we used in the crease earlier. Woo. Yeah, that really was easy to blend those shadows out. Wow, okay. Well, that's fun. Okay, and then just to experiment with another color or two, let's add a little bit. I want to try out this shade and this one. So this is Temptress and Moody. And I'm going to go in Temptress first and just see if this cools things down just slightly. Yep, that's nice. Then I'm going to add just a little bit of Moody. And of course, you don't have to go in with all these colors, but I just kind of want to see, for your benefit, if as many colors as possible all perform the same as they swatched. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, so by putting that Moody shade over that dark brown, it created this really pretty, almost a plummy burgundy color. Oh, yep, love that. And these colors are all bringing out the green in my eyes. Okay, don't mind this eye. I've just been trying to figure out what I want to do on the lower lash line. All right, I'm going to start off with this green shade, which is called Fantasy. I'm using the Morphe M432, and I'm applying these without any eyeliner down here, just because I want to see how much color translates without any help of an eye base. Now, of course, an eyeliner is the best way to make sure that everything stays in place, but I just thought I would try this out and just see. And I don't know if you can tell because it is just a little bit of a line, but I am definitely seeing the green show up. And then I'm going to take that same brush and go into this shade right here, which is Mischievous. And it's a matte, kind of almost a matte pumpkin color. Real pretty. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of this shade. So it's similar in tone to the one that we put on the inner corner. It doesn't have quite as big of glitter particles, I think. All right, last step before we clean up under the eyes, because I've kind of gotten a little out of control here, is I'm going to apply a little bit of eyeliner to my waterline. I don't want to cover up any of this beautiful shimmer we've got going on. So I'm trying out a new one. I used this yesterday and it's amazing so far. This is the Pixie Eye Define Waterline Pencil, and it is actually ophthalmology tested to be used on the waterline. It's water resistant, and I did not end up with this all over my contacts yesterday, so that's a good thing. So I'm just going to just press this right into the roots of my upper lashes here. And then I'm going to add just a touch of it here on the lower kind of inner rim, but just in the roots of the lashes. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that Fantasy shade on my M432 and just press this right into the roots of the lashes, right over where we applied that liner. All right, before I add mascara, I'm gonna finish up the face because I'm gonna use my highlighter for my inner corner. So I'm gonna go in with a little blush. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush in Risque. And this is such a pretty color. This has a little more, I feel like, warmth than the color Seduce does, but it is a matte blush. So I feel like with all the sparkle going on the eyes, I want to keep the cheeks not too glowy. We'll add a little highlighter, but this is just so pretty. And then for highlighter, I don't know if I've used this on camera. This has been sitting in my drawer. This is the Tarte Champagne Glow highlighter, and it's so pretty, so smooth. I'm going to use a little bit of this on the inner corner, and we're gonna blend it out in a moment. But before we do, let's add a little bit of this to the tops of our cheeks here. And this is just such a smooth formula. Definitely has shimmer, but I don't feel like it looks chunky, glittery. I mean, look how pretty that is. And I'm just literally just tapping my brush in there, not swirling or anything. Little goes a long way. Now we'll go back to our palette, and I'm going to go in with this first shade we used, which is called Playful, and I'm going to use a Sigma E30, and I'm going to use that over that shimmery inner corner just to mute it down just slightly. All right, the final touch, I'm going to add this Urban Decay lip liner in the shade Nighthawk. And then I'm going to add the Smashbox Be Legendary lipstick. This is the shade Level Up. And then I think this needs just a touch of a little bit of gloss. I'm gonna do the Smashbox Petal Metal gloss. All right, now here is our finished look. And overall, you could probably tell as we went along, but I am super impressed with this palette, how it performed. And I did layer a number of shadows in the outer corner intentionally because in the past, certain eyeshadows can be pigmented, but sometimes you run into trouble. They start looking muddy when you're piling several layers on, and I had no issues with that today. Also, the shimmer shade on the lid, the Natasha Denona eyeshadows, the shimmer shadows, are some of the best in my opinion. But on my more hooded eye, I find that the glitter particles can tend to travel a little bit throughout the day. I don't know if you've ever had that happen, but I did not have that happen at all. I did not have to take a brush through the crease to blend that out. So I feel like these shimmer shades, while being super pigmented and metallic-y and that slightly thicker texture, they stay put. And I just overall am thrilled with this palette. And if these are shadows that you love and you love shimmer shades, if you don't love shimmer shades, this isn't the palette for you. But if you love good shimmers and a lot of good mattes, I think this is definitely a palette you're going to want to jump on. Now, I looked all over the Ulta website, read all the details on the packaging, everything. Nothing says that it's limited edition. However, it is currently only available at Ulta on their website. Sephora, Tarte's website even, it's not available there. So I'm not sure how long this will be around, but if this is something that is of interest to you, I would highly recommend it. As always, I will leave a link to it and the other products that I put on my face, as well as what's on my nails. Another new favorite, oh my goodness. I'll leave all those details in the description box below. Thank you as always so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.